Hey you guys, so today I'm out in the garden because my daughter and husband are both taking naps inside, so I wasn't able to film inside because our house is really little. But today I wanted to talk about 7 different things you can do if you are not yet a homemaker but you'd love to be in the future that I really think can super benefit your future if you plan on being a mother or a wife or stay-at-home mom. So recently I've received a couple of different comments from younger girls who have been watching my videos, and I have found that just so encouraging to know the type of audience that I'm speaking to, and I thought, you know what, this would be a really fun video to do because it's great for me to think, what could I have maybe focused on a bit more when I was single that would have benefited me now? And so let's dive right in and talk about these 7 different things. So tip number 1 is learning to interact and love other people well. And so I grew up in a family, there were 6 of us kids, and all of us were so incredibly different. We all have different love languages, we all communicate different. I have one brother who's extremely hyper, has tons of energy, is really assertive. I have another brother who's super laid back. And I think it's such a blessing learning how to interact and love other people well that are different than ourselves. And so whether you have a large family or you have some close friends, I really encourage you to spend some time learning what their love languages are and then learning how to serve them in that way. I also encourage you to learn how to deal with conflict within close relationships to you way before you're married and having to deal with marriage conflict. Learn how to kindly and graciously communicate your feelings, communicate maybe if you're hurt by something, and learn how to reciprocate that back as well. And so I think that's something you can never grow in enough before you're married, and it will only benefit you the more you learn how to interact with a larger audience, how to love people with different needs well, and how to really learn the skills it requires to love your husband and love your children like the Bible says. Tip number 2 goes right along with this, and it's learning how to serve. And this is such a wonderful thing to learn as early on as possible, and something I also think you can just continue to grow in no matter what age or stage you're at in life. And so learning how to serve is such a beautiful thing because not only is it learning to bless someone else and put their needs above your own, but it also gives you such a joy and fulfillment serving in a way that when I'm constantly demanding people to take care of me and serve me, I don't feel. And so I highly encourage you, along with learning those love languages, that maybe if someone in your family is acts of service, my husband is acts of service, start exercising the beautiful gift of serving right now within your family, whether that's making them a meal, whether that's helping with the laundry, whether that's bringing your brother or sister a cup of water. There's just little things you can do right now that will only benefit you and bless you down the road. Okay, we are back inside. My husband's up, Carrie's up. Really quickly, we'll finish up this list. So the 3rd thing I think that is fabulous you can start focusing on right now, no matter if you're married or single or in a relationship, young or old, is the skill and self-control of discipline. And so maybe this looks like you start developing a morning routine, you wake up at a certain time every morning, you start making one of the meals for your family a week, whatever it is that just encourages you to become more disciplined. And you by no means have to do all of these things. I am not the most disciplined person in the world, but it's something I'm trying to desperately work on because there are a lot of times as a homemaker and as a stay-at-home mom where you have to do things you don't necessarily want to do. Discipline is a fabulous thing to start working on at the earliest age possible because I don't think you'll ever grow out of having to learn how to become more disciplined. Number 4, I've talked about this before in one of my marriage videos that I will link down below, but right now is a great time to start looking around at older women that are married or mothers or you just really aspire to become more like, and start noticing traits in them that you want to develop in yourself. Start creating the ideal woman you want to become. And this is kind of controversial, the idea of having expectations, but I think having a vision and a long-term goal of who it is you want to grow into at as early an age as possible is extremely useful, extremely beneficial, and will totally help you going into marriage and motherhood. So I remember from a pretty young age observing different women that I knew, observing traits out of my mom, reading things in books, and starting to build who it was I wanted to become. So I knew from a young age, I want to be a servant-hearted wife that is always willing to love and serve her husband. I wanted to be a servant-hearted wife. I wanted to be a fun wife. I wanted to do different things with my husband and develop different hobbies with him. And so having this picture early on makes those times when maybe you're going through a rough patch or a rough season with your child or in your marriage, you can look towards your Northern Star. Long term, who is it that I want to be? And are the actions I'm taking today encouraging me to become that down the road? Tip number 5 is to start learning how to run a home today. And growing up in a big family, I think, can be so beneficial, or growing up with siblings, or even living at home. You have such an opportunity to learn how to run a home right now, which is so neat. So that might look like learning how to do laundry, learning how to make a menu, learning how to make meals, learning how to prioritize your time a bit better. There are a ton of different things you can start doing today by watching what your mom does, or even if you live with just roommates. There are responsibilities you can take today to learn how to run a home that will cause you to have an entire tool belt that you can take into marriage of things you already know how to do, which I think is so, so neat. Number 6, learn the basics of money. And by this, I mean learn how to budget in some type of simple way. Even if you don't have a full-time job maybe at the moment, you still can learn how to budget by using whatever amount of money it is you do have and making sure that you're not overspending or you're not buying more things than you have the money to buy. Another thing to learn how to do that I highly recommend is just the basics of paying bills. When we first got married, I didn't know how to pay bills at all. I didn't know how to write a check. I didn't know how to figure out what needed to be paid every month. And so just getting a basic understanding, maybe calling and paying for a couple bills, or learning how to put things on auto pay. There are certain different things you can learn today that will really help you down the road. And in my case, luckily, my husband is much better at paying the bills than I, and I think he would kind of prefer to be in charge of it anyway. And we put the majority of our things on auto pay, which is really, really nice overall. And so luckily, I don't really have to do that anymore. But I think it's still a skill that's really good to know and be familiar with. Number 7, the last thing I want to talk about today is cooking. And this might seem really obvious, but I did not have really any cooking skills going into marriage because it was not something I enjoyed doing. But I highly recommend, even if you just have 4 or 5 dinners, that you're fairly confident in knowing how to create and cook. It will equip you in such a helpful way going into marriage. Yes? I have a friend who is just such an incredible cook, and I always think whenever I eat some of her delicious food, man, she has such a gift she's bringing into marriage. She's bringing into her future family by having this skill and being able to cook so incredibly well. Carrie, please be quiet. Thank you. It's a great way to increase your cooking skills and also help your family at the same time. And it kind of goes back to learning how to interact, learning people's love language, and learning to serve. Sorry, my daughter is talking a lot. I will link down below that marriage video that I was talking about. I will also link down below my other homemaking videos for you to check out. If you are interested in more homemaking videos, I will be creating tons more in the future. So stick around for those. Don't forget to subscribe. And to all of you who have sent me such sweet and encouraging comments lately, thank you so, so much. Those mean so much to me. Whenever I wake up and I look at my phone and I see a comment from someone, it just kind of makes my day. So thank you, thank you. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you have a fabulous week, and I will see you in my next video.